Good evening,
So today
ma'am.
we will be studying about training and development. So when we talk about training, what do you understand? সদায় শুনি থাকা ন শব্দটো ট্ৰেইনিং ইটছ এ ভেৰি কমন ৱৰ্ড চ' ট্ৰেইনিং বুলিলে কি বুজা এনি আইডিয়া জোৰকৈ কোৱা ডাঙৰকৈ কোৱা হা কিবা এটা শিকা য়েছ ইট কেন বি লাৰ্ণিং ছামথিং নিউ অৰ ইট কেন অলছ' বি আপগ্ৰেডিং ইয়'ৰ এক্সিষ্টিং নলেজ অৰ স্কিলছ যিখিনি বস্তু জানা তাত ইফ ইউ এড ছামথিং মোৰ হয়নে তেতিয়া আৰু অলপ বেছি ভালকৈ বস্তুটো জানিবা ডেট ইজ কল ইয়'ৰ ট্ৰেইনিং হোৱাই ডু এমপ্লয়িজ অৰ ৱৰ্কাৰ্ছ হোৱাই ডু দে নিড ট্ৰেইনিং ট্ৰেইনিং কিয় দৰকাৰ হয় টু ডেভেলপ already when we recruit a person or and do the selection we already judge whether he is capable for that particular job or not but when we do the training it will be something which will add or do value addition to his skills hoy na aru olop bhalke kaam to koribo paribo in that case what will happen the productivity of the workers will increase also ki hoy ketiaba jodi when you do a task, you have to handle different types of tools, right? So when the employees or the worker class, they are handling certain kind of instruments or tools, they need to undertake certain safety measures or precautions. So when they undergo a training, so these things are taught to them and they are acquainted with the such kind of measures that they have to take, right? So here health too, we can consider that the health of the workers are protected through training. Then when the workers they are given training, then they can work better on the job. Their performance will be increased. Agote jodi 10 hours lage etia after knowing the everything in and outs of the job, they will be able to do the work in lesser time. Kom homoyot কামটো কৰিব পাৰিব তাৰোপৰি when they undergo training what happens is that the wastage that happens due to certain malfunctioning of the instruments or the tools that will not happen mishandlingৰ কাৰণে কেতিয়াবা বস্তুবোৰ ভাঙি যাব পাৰে ন some tools that are very delicate that needs sophisticated handling. In that case, the training always it is helpful, right? So, ebur karanot training is very much helpful. And do you know the difference between training and development? Training or development hobdotur mazot kiba eta difference ase. Basic. Training is generally for the worker class and development we are talking about the executives. Executives or khetrot ami sadharonte development hobdotur use koru, right? So the slides are prepared in accordance with the contents that is given in your textbook. So ever just let me go through it. Organization first recruits and then selects their employees and provides them some of the training to increase their versatility, knowledge, adaptability skills so that the jobs they perform becomes appreciable. Every training program is aimed at fulfilling the following purpose. Increase the productivity, improve the quality lot produced, improve the quality lot products being manufactured to fulfill its future personnel needs. Future personnel needs mane? In future, there might be a situation when there is a vacancy in the organization and you need an immediate fulfillment of that vacancy. And you do not have the time to go for the proper staffing process or the recruitment selection. It is a time-consuming process, right? We have studied earlier, it is time-consuming. It is It is a costly affair because you need to do the properly, right? The things you need to do it in a proper manner of exam patibo lagibo, interview patibo lagibo, and selection is the most crucial part. Because you can select only one person for a vacancy of one post, right? But tomorrow you may find that there are many applicants who are actually suitable or desirable for that post. হয় নে? সেইকাৰণে আমি আৰু এনেকুৱা হয় ন সময় নাথাকিব পাৰে, in that case training যদি already দিয়া থাকে, then you can easily choose the employee who is already trained for that particular purpose. So আগতীয়াকে training to থাকিলে it helps. Mainly in case of, you can see that mainly যদি কিবা নতুন software এটা জানিব লাগে, হয় নে? তেতিয়া যদি softwareটো already সেই মানুহজনক train কৰা হৈছে, তেতিয়া হলে directly you can select him for that particular post. Next is maintain personal growth of employees in the enterprise. When a person is trained, it will boost up his morale and it will also what? Bring a growth in that person itself. এবাৰটো শিকি ললেতো পটককেতো পাহৰি না যায় ন নতুন এটা বস্তু ট্ৰেইনিং এটা লৈছে, so it will always হি নিজেও ভাল পাব, হয় নে? নতুন বস্তু এটা শিকিলে আমাৰ আৰু ভাল লাগে, হয় নে? So it will boost the, it will help in the personal growth and boost his morale. Next is prevent the obsolescence of employees at work. Ekku jodi training dia nohoy and employees does the routine work, then that person will one day become obsolete at work. That means notun jetia, we know that business environment is changing continuously and a person needs to adapt to the changing circumstances and upgrade his skills. Nijok jodi training loi pale upgrade nokoru, then one day if you go in search of a job to another organization, you will be what? You will not be selected because you do not know the newer things that is happening in the what? In the market, right? And training kenuka bidhar hobo pare. Training can be what? It can be interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills mane developing the communication skills between the persons, right? It can be at the operative level. Operative level mane jibur kamot ba task jitu perform korise tar related training hobo pare, or it can be a combination of different kinds of skills, right? Next, there are different methods of training, and the main ones are the on-the-job training and off-the-job training. On-the-job mane, the word itself, it is telling about on-the-job. Jobot thaki pale kam to hika. That is a kind of training. On-the-job training bor kune diye? Who will give the on-the-job training? Just the senior or the supervisor who will guide him. So that person will give him the on-the-job training. And similarly, off-the-job hale, off-the-job training is, it is not at the workplace, but it is at some other location where the employees or the workers, they are given the training. And both these methods have got its own advantages and disadvantages. So bhabi pale koason on the job hole ki hobo pare? Jobot thaki pale hikile ki advantage hobo pare? Practical, he will get all the practical knowledge, right? So practically he jeta bostu eta nije kori sabo, then he will know what are the like advantages of working by this method or by that method. Kuntu bostu keneke koribo lage, he will know all the in and outs of that job, right? Aru ki hobo pare? On the job hole? On the job hole, you will not require bahiro pa manhu anibo nalage, hoy ne? So it becomes little less costly, right? Bahirot training koribole jetia tumalke joa, when you go to take training somewhere outside of your native locality or your native place, then ki hoy? You need to find a location where you need to stay. Thaka khoros ahi jay. You need to pay some extra money for undergoing a training. Ajikali, you know, training is become a costly affair. So free kisuman training hai tumak free diye. All trainings are never for free. So in that case, cost ahi jay, hoy ne? Next, another demerit of on-the-job training is learn in a haphazard manner. Learn in a haphazard manner because although the supervisor will guide you, but then there will be different people who will be undergoing the training, and everybody will try to do in his own way, whichever he finds it comfortable jitu method e comfortable pai teneke training lobole sabo hoy ne so in that case things become a little haphazard and although the supervisor will guide you but different people might not take it in the same way everyone might try out his own ways right next is inexperienced handling of machines by the trainee may result in colossal losses colossal mane dangor because instruments might be very costly aru mishandling horu mishandling eta holo spare part napale khatam aru hoy ne another of the job training methods are the training conducted away from the actual work setting some of the popular methods of the job training are lecture classroom instruction conference method group discussion case studies bookot je caselets ba case studies bur je pohi pale tomalke ki kora you try to find solutions to some problems that is actually a kind of training which you are undergoing and to make you prepared to face the external business environment hoy ne eta je classroom ot tomalke kisuman bostu hikisa ebur goi when you get into the jobs you have to apply those things pohi pala okol pahori gole to no hobo hoy ne so this is a kind of training right next is your merits is what even though you are frustrated with some kind of training bahut ghonta 12 ghonta continuously you are undergoing a training or a seminar you are tired but that is not reflected in your actual job hoy ne so that is making you prepared right bahut ghonta ekeloge ekelethariye tumalke kaam kori asa you are being prepared for the real workplace how will you do the job next is it helps employees to network and perhaps drama business mane business to aru borhabo karne next is your demerit is the overall there will be a cost and different learning speeds of individuals obviously they have different understanding capacity kunbai hunkale grip koribo pare kunbai karbak time lagibo pare so that is a demerit of the job training because of the job training jibur hoy sadharonte ebor ki hoy for a limited time period hoy ne it will depend on how the employees or the workers they cope up with the training nijor nije hekhini time frame or mitorte gutekhini bostu hiki lobole jotno koribo lagibo next is your placement so what is placement huni thaka no placement pale na nai college pa ulwar loge loge placement hoise na nai kunkhon college or placement bhal so what is that placement commonly used word right placement mane ki bhaba job actually whether mane job to logot whether he is placed into that job to logot tak ekdom ki koy chipkai dia yes chipkai dia mane job to logot he is actually placed into that job and he is given that job role he job to tetia kaam koribole tak mane pura authority dia hoise that is called your job placement a proper placement is instrumental in reducing employee turnover absenteeism and boost employee morale koa hoise je tamne placement to proper hobo lage that means the skills should be the person should be placed at the designation at which he is actually deserving jitu deserve kore hetut jagat he tak placement to dibo lage next is orientation bujile we have heard the word orientation mane ki sinaki korai dia porbotok orientation bola hoy to make the new workers familiar at the workplace with the work environment with the work skills with everything in the new environment right so that from the next day when he actually comes to his office or the organization he will feel comfortable and he can do the things properly whatever is assigned to him so dangor organization burat HR department eta thake, human resource department, which does the orientation. Orientation acts as a function of organizational socialization, serving three main purposes, which is acquisition of work skills and abilities, adoption of proper role behavior, adjustment to the norms and values of the work group. Norms and values of the work group. Tamne? Kisuman organizationat rule thake no? No smoking during work hours, gossiping not allowed, customer behavior kenekwa hobo lage, what should be the behavior with the customers, hone henekwa bostuburu jate teolok acquainted hoi jay. Okay, and he doesn't commit any mistake on the first day itself, right? Next is your induction. Induction mane? Induction is what? Induction is also similar to your orientation. Next we come to leading. Leading mane? Lead kora. Leading comes, leading, habda to kor logot related to the word leader, right? Lead kora mane? To direct or to guide others, right? So what is leading in your management? Management at leading bulile ki buziba. Leading is the use of influence to motivate employees to achieve organizational goals. How you will motivate others and lead them towards the organizational objectives. Belegok tumi motivate koribo lagibo. That is the work of a manager, right? Managers must be able to make employees want to participate in achieving an organization's goal. Three components make up the leading function. These are motivating, influence, and forming effective groups. Effective group mane? Effective group mane ki buja? Effective means a healthy group, right? Where people are communicating, people are monbur milise, right? Nimila manubur bohi lole, and then they are engaged in torko bitorko. What will happen? Hekini korute hoi gol aru samoy khini gol, right? So the leaders, they also have to form effective groups who are oriented towards the bringing the good performance of the company. The leading process helps the organization move towards the goal attainment. Next, we will come to the next chapter. Any clear in this chapter? Aru okol tumalgor 30 marks manore hoy portion to. So, tumalke he jibur manubure kune ki koise he kothabur monot rakhiba. Mane definitions bur je dise অলপ নামবোৰ মনত ৰাখিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিবা বাকি তোমালোকে because you the terms are very easy planning কি হয় advantage কি হয় হয় নে হেবু বস্তুটো ইজিয়ে হয় ট্ৰেইনিং কি হয় তোমালোকে জানাই ডেভেলপমেন্ট কি হয় জানাই কিন্তু হে ডিফাৰেন্স বোৰ কি হয় এবোৰ এটা তোমালোকৰ ট্ৰেইনিংৰ মেথডছ বোৰ যে আছে কোনটো কোৰ ভিতৰত পৰিব হেনেকুৱা কোৱেশ্চনছ বোৰ জাস্ট হে টাৰ্মছ বোৰ তোমালোকে অলপ ভালকে চাই লবা ফৰ ইওৰ এক্সাম পাৰপাস ওকে আৰু লাষ্টত সময় হলে মই কোনবানা ক্লাছত অল মানে অবজেক্টিভ টাইপ কোৱেশ্চনছবোৰ অবজেক্টিভ টাইপে আহিব তোমালোকৰ পৰীক্ষাত তেনেকুৱাবোৰ কৰাবলে সাম ইন ওয়ান ক্লাস এট দ্য এন্ড যদি সময় বাসে আদারওয়াইজ আই উইল ট্রাই টু গিভ ইউ সামহাউ হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ বা কোবাত তোমালোকক মই ফরওয়ার্ড কৰি দিম ওকে মিনিমাইজ কোড কৰে
হেল্ল' বাইদেউ আপুনি ক্লিক কৰকচোন লেফ্ট সাইডে ক্লিক কৰক বোৰ্ডখনৰ এই তলত বাটন এটা আছে লেফ্ট সাইডে এই আপোনাৰ পিপিটিটোত ক্লিক কৰক বাইদেউ নাই পিপিটিটোত ক্লিক কৰক পিপিটি এই তলত চাওক সেই মানুহৰ এইটো এজন যে জেণ্টেলমেন এজন আছে যে ইফালে চাই আছে ফটোখনত তাৰ মাথাত এটা আছে ক্ৰছ মাৰ্ক আহিছে
So your next chapter is communication, and communication, coordination, collaboration, monitoring and control. So what is communication? We often hear the word communication, right? Communication bulile? Any idea? The interaction between two, not only two or more people. Kintu minimum two hoboi lagibo, because communication is a two-way process, right? Aru any more? Communication is ki kola tumi interaction between two people. Aru ki thakibo lagibo? That is okay, but that is half of the definition. Aru ki thakibolo? Exchange of ideas, understanding, emotions, thoughts, and feelings. Aru ki hobo pare? Views. Okay? So all this, when you actually try to make the other person, you try to give the other person what you are feeling, or your idea, what is in your mind, that is called as communication. Communication is the exchange of ideas, views, thoughts, understanding, etc. from one person to another person, right? And it should be easily understood by the other party, right? Moi jitu koisu etu tumalke buji pabo lagibo. If I am talking in Assamese, you should be able to understand Assamese. Otherwise, it will not be an effective communication. Okay? Moi eneke bujabo lagibo jate tumalke buji paisa, right? Then only the communication will be effective. Okay? Moi English at bujai aso, tumalke English buji nupua, then it will be of no use, right? So communication has come from the Latin word communis, which means common. The word communication stands for the sharing of ideas in common, and it is the foundation for planning. Planning is the first function or primary function of management, right? And in planning, what we do? In planning, we try to plan something, and that plan is actually executed by different members or different subordinates, managers. So if you do not communicate the plan, then it will be of no use, right? So communication is very basic of what? Of your entire management process. All the essential information must be communicated to the manager, who in turn must communicate the plans so as to implement them. Organizing also requires effective communication with others about their job task, right? Ki koribo job task to bujabo karno, you need communication. For everything you need communication, right? So next, what is the importance of communication? Communication or importance ki hoy? Why we need communication? Eneto hunibole bahut easy, no? Communication, everyone we know. But when it comes to formal, books at jikhini ase, then okoman bhabibo loga hoy, right? So, what is communication? What is the importance of communication? Ki hobo pare? Kyo lage communication? To have a healthy work environment, hoy ne? Because in dealing with the employees, in dealing with the problems, in dealing with the plans, for everything we need to communicate. Manuhor logot kotha patilehe ami problem to buji pam, hoy ne? Problems or solution to ami bisaribo parim, hoy ne? Because of that, we need communication. Communication acts as a bridge between different people in the organization. Bujisa? Either through written medium, through oral medium, or telephonic medium, or any other medium, right? In organization, communication ties people and structure together. It is a bridge of meaning between two or more people. It involves understanding and acceptance of ideas to act in it. Mane? It involves understanding and acceptance of ideas to act in it. Mane? Jitu bujaise supervisor hetu hothike bujibo lagibo. In accordance with that, the subordinates need to act upon it. Right? Next is effective communication is a substance of good management, but communication is not a substitute for good management. Mane? It is a substance of good management. Mane bhal management practices or eta one component is your what? Your effective communication. But it is not the only thing for your good management. Good management hobole okol je communication hobole ibot hetu nohoy. But eta bhal management, for a good management, it is an essential part, but it is not the only part. Okol communication hole je good management hobo hetu nohoy, but it is a crucial part, right? Hekarone koa hoise je it is a substance of good management, but not a substitute. Substitute nohoy. Okol je communication korile everything will be good, not that, right? Next is your communication process. Communication process is a continuous process which involves various sequential steps. Sequential steps mean mane etar pisot eta ahibo. So first is the what? Sender. Sender first ki koribo? First ki koribo? Direct communicate kori dibo neki? Message to dibo. Keneke? The sender will think of key message he dibo hoine. Tar what does he want to deliver? Ki deliver koribo bisarise? What message? What idea? Ki bujabo bisarise? That is the first thing hoine. That idea will be generated by the sender. June kothakini ba ideas to transfer koribo bisarise belegole, right? So first is the second slide. First is the sender or the communicator who will try to what? Try to deliver the idea or the message. Next is your encoding. Encode kora. Encode kora mane message to ki hobo lagibo? Message should be something which is understood by the other people. Hoine? So he keneke idea to transfer koribo through what? Through orally koribo pare, ba written medium di koribo pare, ba using some gestures. Tumalke kotha pati asa, and I want you to be silent in my class. Monojog di hunatu bisaru, and I am showing you this, like this. So what do I want to express? Moi ki kobo bisarise eneke mane? Eneke dekhaisu mane? Tumalke, the thought in my mind is what? That you should be silent. Ar tumalke jodi hetu buji poa je etur mane to jana, tetiahe tumalke silent thakiba, নহলে to kotha pati thakiba. So that is your encoding. Tarpisot gestures. Gestures mane tumi keneke ki mane kiba eta pose loisa no, that tarpisot symbols. Moi porikha tumalke nopoha tumalke etu tamne ki zero paba. So you should be tumalke he code gita moi jitu use koriso hetu janibo lagibo, then only that will be an effective communication, right? And horu lora tak enake je hit koru, that is also we are encoding. Hit koriso kele hi badmasi korise, hi jodi buji pai titia hole etu effective communication hobo, ar jodi hit koriso hi kele mariso hetue gom napai, then that will be of no use, right? So encoding involves the selection of the language in which the message is to be given. The medium of expression may be speaking, writing, signaling, nejaba signaling, physical contact. Physical contact keneke? Someone has won something and you congratulate him. So that expresses that you are happy at his success or you are showing empathy towards him, right? Physical contacting Handshaking, কোনবা যদি colleague এজনে তোমাৰ কি কয় কিবা কোবা prize জিকিছে, he becomes the winner in some competition, right? And you hug him. That shows what? That you are what? You are also feeling good at his success, and it is also an success for the whole organization, right? Since you are all working towards the same objective. Then hitting, etc. Encoding should be done in such a way that the receiver may correctly understand the message communicated to him. Okay? Next is the message. This is easy. Message is what the communicator is communicating. Without this, there is no communication. The message sent by the person should be stated in a clear and unambiguous terms. Unambiguous means there should be no double meaning or মানে কি কয় ambiguous মানে which is ambiguous মানে unclear হয় না unambiguous মানে it should be clear, right? Next is your medium. Medium মানে in what way, right? Now when I am talking with you or I am conducting the class, then it is a face-to-face communication. There might be other ways of communicating like video conferencing, through telephonic medium, through print medium, then through is a pamphlets board hake, through leaflets, through memorandums, through some policy papers board hake. So all these are different medium of communication. Also, medium বুলি ক'লে production schedules and sales forecast বোৰো তোমাৰ medium হয়. So these terms, এনেকুৱা terms বোৰ আহিব পাৰে যে production schedule, এটো কি হয়? মানে objective questions are তোমালোকৰ বেলেগ বেলেগ হেৰি options থাকিব পাৰে, select. So go through the terms, মানে কোনটোৰ আন্ডাৰত কি পৰে হেবোৰ মনত ৰাখিবা, okay? Whether production schedule is encoding, whether it is encoder হয় নেকি, বা whether it is a message, হেনেকে আহিব পাৰে. Then you will get confused. Although you know the things, but in the exam, confused হ'ব পাৰা. So এইবোৰ terms বোৰ অলপ মনত ৰাখিবা, okay? Next is the decoding. Decoding মানে মই যেটো কলো, মই যেটো বুজালো হেতু তোমালকে বুজিব লাগিব. If I understand, if I use some terms which are not familiar to you, then the communication will not be effective, such as use of jargons. Jargons মানে টান শব্দ কিছুমান ইউজ কৰি দিলো, তোমালকে কেতিয়াও জীৱনত শুনাই নাই, then কি হ'ব? যদি তো বোলে ডিকশনাৰীত বা ক'বাত অনলাইন উইকিপিডিয়াত গৈ পেলাই বিচাৰি ল'লা, দেন তেতিয়াতো বুজিলা, কমিউনিকেশ্যনটো বুজি পালা, okay. But if you don't go through it and I use some bombastic words which you have never heard, then কি হ'ব? That will be not a good communication, and decoding will not be proper. Encoding is from the sender's end, decoding is from the receiver's end, okay? It involves interpretation of the message by the receiver. Interpretation of message largely depends on the perception, past experience and attitude of the receiver. Perception mane how you think about something. You might think something as good, you might think something as bad. Kunbai punishment took positively lobo pare, kunbai punishment took negatively lobo pare, right? Some people, they think that punishment will bring a positive change in the person, but everyone's perception regarding punishment is not the same. Punish kora lage lage aru besike koribo jay, hoy ne? Jitu koribo nologia kamtu. So perception is what you think about something. Whether it is true or not, that is different. Tumi ki bhaba? Tumi bhaba to shuddha hobo pare ba nohobo pare, right? Hoy ne? Hoday bhaba to correct no hoy. So perception is what you believe about something. What are your thoughts regarding something? So the decoding will also depend on perception. Ei kotha to buji paisa ne? And it also depends on past experience. It will depend on how Jodi, if you had something, if you had a bad experience regarding something, মই যদি হেতু ভাল ভাল বুলিও কৈ আছো তোমালকক ভিতৰত কিন্তু বেয়া বুলিয়ে ভাবি আছা সো মই যেটো তোমালকক একচুয়ালি বুজাব বিচাইলো হেতু তো বুজি নাপালা because your experience regarding that thing was bad okay মই পিকনিক এটা যাম বুলি খুব ফুটিৰে তোমালকক কৈ আছো I am talking about a picnic class picnic where we are all going but someone had a very bad experience about his past picnic when he was about to drown in a river so he to he picnic to le jabole olop bhoy khabo pare although I am trying to motivate everyone to go but he might not be willing to go in that case the communication there will be a communication gap eta thaki jabo pare right and attitude of the receiver attitude also depends like what examples can you give regarding attitude of the receiver towards communication jane moi sob janu yes moi sob janu boli bhabile eku no hobo mane moi janu kintu aru olopman hikim sun মই এখিনি পঢ়ি আহিছো ঘৰত মই আগতেও এখিনি পঢ়িছো কিন্তু হুনুসুন কিবা এটা হলো তো নতুন কথা শিকিব পাৰো if you come with that attitude in class then you will obviously take back something with you right next is your feedback feedback is when I am asking you buji paisane that is a feedback and if you tell that no buji poa nai then what will I do I will try to explain it again still tumalke buji poa nai I will try to change my method of teaching you right so it will help you as well as it will help me so in that way both of us both the parties are what we are trying to grow and the communication will be effective next is noise mane any kind of disturbance that is hampering the communication process jene does it mean only external noise je fan khonor awaz hoy ase hetu to hoy baru fanor awaz to distraction create koribo pare that is okay some outside sounds okay that is a noise but apart from that dangoke kwa network or problem yes network or problem is a noise aru ki hobo pare that negative attitude jodi loi thaka that is also considered as a noise aru ketaman ase you can write down the points copy tene likhi lobo para tumalke misperception just point wise likhi lua noise or examples likhi lua negative attitude misperception PERCEPTION misperception third likha a person's assent a person apostrophe s a person's assent ACCENT মানে শব্দটো কেনেকে উচ্চাৰণ কৰিছো pronounce কেনেকে কৰিছো হেতুও যদি বেয়া হয় তেতিয়া হলে এটা নয়েজ বুলিয়ে ধৰিব পাৰি দেখিব পৰা নাই পাৰিছা নাই পৰা যদি চাই লোৱা একো নাই লাষ্ট কৰিব লগা একো নাই ACCENT illegible print illegible 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 print PRINT illegible মানে পঢ়িব নোৱাৰা আখৰ যদি লিখো তেতিয়া হলে that will also be considered as a noise aru likha slash print picture illegible print picture কিবা এটা পিকচাৰ বা ইমেজ এটা আহিছে যিটো বুজি পোৱা নাই, that is also considered as a noise. Next, jargon আৰু poor eyesight. Jargon আৰু poor eyesight. চকুৰে যদি নেদেখা, অলপ কম দেখা, তেতিয়া হলো এটা লিখিছো কিবা দেখিছা, কিবা এটা অলপ বেলেগ সেম ওয়ার্ডস, বেড লিখিছো বেড দেখিছা, কি হ'ব সেই তেনেকুৱা অলপ হৈ যায় ন প্ৰবলেম. Next is types of organizational communication. Types. What are the types? Different types. Formal and informal communication is the first type. Formal communication mane? Formal communication. Officially jikhini? What? That official commands or the way in which the information is flowing in a formal way, that is called your formal communication. Bujisa? Formal communication comes from how does the ideas or your information flow in a formal communication? From the in a formal communication ki hoy upopa tolle commands bur ahe, but responsibility will come from your top to up, right? Bujisa? Formal communication is the formal chain in which the communication will flow, right? And informal communication is that friendly communication that different employees develop because of having some common thoughts or common thinking বা একে ধৰণৰ মিলা মেলা কাম মানে কাম কৰিছে, এনে অলপমান গসিপ কৰি ললে, that is your informal communication because of what? That same thinking, kiba kibi je kotha pate, so that is your informal communication. Next is your downward, upward and horizontal communication. The picture itself, it shows downward communication hole upopa tolle. Upward communication, the information will flow from the lower level to the upper level. Aru horizontal communication is among same department or hobo, same department or majotu hoy, aru mane actually eketa level or manhor majot. Maybe the departments are different, but their levels are same. All of them are at the equal level managers. All are grade B or all are grade C managers. Rank bur beleg nohoy, same level. Then that communication will be your horizontal communication. Mane same level or managers, their salaries are same, their tasks are almost related, although the departments are different, tasks are different, kintu eketa level or aro. Okay? Next is your verbal and written communication. Verbal mane oral communication, and written communication is through your written medium, right? Yes, one more thing is there here. Two methods of communicating a message may be verbal or written. Popular forms of oral communication include face-to-face talks, formal group discussions, and grapevine. Grapevine communication is a type of communication which is what? Which can flow from anyone in the organization, and rumors. Is a ura batori boli koy je hetu, that is known as your grapevine communication. In an organization keneke hoy etu organization and grapevine communication, and how does that communication, that message flow keneke hoy? Is a clerks bur ikhon desk or pa hikhon desk ole file bur transfer kore, ejon officer lot kotha pati ase, kiba ta adha hunile, sahkap dibole ahile kiba ta hunile, গৈ পেলে ইজনক কলে, আকৌ হিজনে হিজনক কলে, কথাবোৰ বাগৰি বাগৰি কিবা বেলেগ হৈ যায়, হয়নে? 10 তাৰিখে বন্ধ আছিলে, 5 তাৰিখে বন্ধ বুলি ওলাই গল, হয়নে? তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ, that is known as your grapevine communication, and it is an important type of communication. Next is barriers to effective communication. As a communication ate stop kori nim, next class ত তোমালোকৰ মই এটো পঢ়াই লম ৰবা next class ত I will start with your coordination and collaboration. Barriers to communication to পটাপট পঢ়াই দিছো what are the barriers to effective communication? Barriers মানে বাধা. Effective communication হবলে বাধা কি হয়? So what are the barriers? First is your filtering. Filter মানে what does a filter do? চালি দিয়ে ন চালি দিয়ে লেট্ৰাখিনি ওপৰত থৈ দিয়ে ভালখিনি তললে so it does what? Selection কৰে হয়নে selection of what? The unwanted and the wanted হয়নে ফিল্টাৰ এটাই কি কৰে unwanted বস্তুখিনি বেলেগকে থৈ দিয়ে আৰু ভাল যিখিনি লাগা বস্তুটো বাছি পালে উলিয়াই দিয়ে similar is the case of filtering when you become choosy and become selective in the information jitu tumar kobole mon goise hetuhe koisa bakikhini nai koa but you are communicating only that part of the information which the receiver wants to hear beya khobor eta hunibo nibisare no sobe to tumi okol bhal portion to kola beya khobor to nidila so that you are what you are doing the filtering in the communication. Okay, buji paisa? Next is your selective perception. Selective perception is from the receiver's end. Selectively he perceive korise. Gutekhini bostu jikhini communicate korisu, he is not, the receiver is not taking everything. He is only hearing or listening or trying to understand whatever he wants to do. Selectively message to bujise, not the whole idea or the thought. Next is your language. Language can be a barrier. Then semantic barrier. Semantic mane? Semantic barrier mane? Semantic barriers are the barriers which are because of the different languages, words, symbols or the expressions that you use in communication. Karon amar English language ote saba a word can have different meanings, right? Hoine eta word or beleg meaning hobo pare. Suppose we take the word make. I will make dinner. Tamne I will make dinner. Tamne moi I will prepare the dinner, right? Ako make. What make is this cell phone? Tamne who is the manufacturer or the company of that phone? Ako make buli kole ako jodi ko will you make it to the dinner tonight? Tamne tumi dinner koribole rati jabane nai. Hoine? So that same word make it is having different meaning. So similarly in case of production production khetrot productivity for what? For the employers ki hobo? It will mean that you are having an effective use of the resources. But for the employees, it might mean a different thing. He will think about how to do more work within that same wages which he is getting, right? Next is your emotion. Emotion can be a barrier. Beleg emotions thake no? Besi emotional hoy gola aro পরীক্ষার আগত ক্রিকেট চাই আছিলা and you became so emotional about the loss of India that পঢ়িবলে পাহৰি গলা. Right? Next is your information overload. Information overload is too much information all together. একেলগে বেছি information. Next is non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues is you can say that non-verbal cues মানে verbally কথা নকলো কিছুমান অঙ্গি ভঙ্গিবোৰ যে থাকে যে it should be in accordance with what I am communicating. Okay? Mane moi koi asu je manu ejon dhukale I am telling that our colleague's father has died or expired last night ar moi phale hahi asu. Then it will not be so non-verbal that cues will not be matching. Moi jikhini kotha koisu my expressions my gestures should match with that, right? So that is called your non-verbal cues. Next is your time pressures. Time pressures mane? How can time pressure be a barrier to communication? Because suppose I ask you to communicate the message among your friends, among your colleagues, today itself. Okay? But all your colleagues are, I ask you to deliver an important message or a sales report to your colleagues by tonight itself. And all your other colleagues, they are partying around. Phone receive nai kora. Because it is a weekend or a weekday or it is a off day. So be party kori ase, tumi message korisa, phone korisa, kono uthwa nai. I have set a limit, right? By tonight itself. Azir bhitorot. So time frame can also be a constraint. Bujisa? Ajir bhitorate lage no? But you were not able to communicate the message within that time frame. So it is a what? It is a barrier to communication. Bujisa? Next. Ekhini bostue likha ase. Next control moi next class at porham. Okay? Because it will, ako next class at controlling, ako moi start te koribo lagibo. Thank you everyone.